So the other day, I made one text message and one phone call and saved my client $60,000. I'm gonna tell you how. All right, I've got this one-on-one mobile home park client, and I've been teaching them for about 9 weeks. I've been teaching them the whole, A to Z, how to find the parks, talk to sellers, underwrite, all this stuff, right? All right, so I end up finding a park I think would be a good fit for him because I'm constantly doing my calls, and if the parks aren't good fits for me, then I wholesale them. Well, this was a smaller park, a 24 unit, smaller than my buy box, and it had been listed for a year, off and on, expired, listed again, and I ended up reaching out to the owner because I had talked to him last year, and he pretty much said he'd take like a $75,000 discount. Well, based off what he told me, I was like, all right, I'll lock it up. So I got it under contract, and we've been doing our diligence ever since. And when I say we, I'm walking my one-on-one client through it. So I'm like, okay, you hire the plumber, you hire the electrician, for the plumber, I want you to, scope the sewer lines, make sure everything's good. If not, see what the cost would be to cure it. That way we can renegotiate later. Same with the plumbing, same with the electrical, same with everything. Anyways, there ends up needing to be like $30,000 done on the electrical, $30,000 done on the plumbing. On the electrical, there's broken electric poles. The meters aren't up to service, or the electrical's not up to service. On the plumbing, there's zero clean outs. They got to be cut in there. Everything else is pretty good though. So I sent the owner a text message, and I just said, hey, this is what happened, and I'm going to need a $60,000 discount because we found 30 on electrical, 30 on plumbing. When we originally spoke, I told you this price and terms were based off the condition of what you told me, and this wasn't disclosed, and I left it at that. I didn't say anything else, right? He didn't respond to my text. I waited 24 hours, and I called him. And I said, hey, what did you think about my Well, we shot the crap for a minute. I was like, hey, what's up, man? He's like, oh, I've been at the gym and all this stuff, right? He's an old man, so I thought that was cool. And I was talking about my bodybuilding competition. I was like, hey, I'm competing this weekend, all this stuff. So we shot the crap for a minute. And then, I was like, all right, what'd you think about my text? He's like, I didn't like it, right? And I'm like, well, tell me about it. And he was like, well, we agreed on a price. I said, yeah, but we didn't know all this stuff. He's like, that's fair. He's like, well, you split it with me. So automatically I have a $30,000 discount. I'm like, well, thank you for that, right? But I can't split it with you because if I do, then I'm out $30,000, and that wasn't our deal, right? Our deal wasn't, hey, give me these terms and $30,000. It was like, so I'd lose the 30,000, right? So anyways, he understood that. I was like, but I understand that I've got to give something if you're going to give something, right? So, understood. So, I want $60,000. What do you want? He said, give me an extra point of interest. Done, right? Because I want to break this down. Is I get a $60,000 reduction. Well, this is a seller finance deal, which means the price goes down $60,000, which means the payment goes down $60,000. Not $60,000, but the payment goes down because of the $60,000 reduction. So if he wants an extra point interest real quick, in my head, I'm winning, right? My payment's actually lower even with the higher interest rate. All right, so I don't even need to do the math. Like, yeah, automatically. He's like, cool, let me talk to a family member and make sure, they think what I do. And he calls right back. He's like, let's do it, Travis. Cool, no problem. So we do the amendment. Now, here's something that I breezed over because I wanted you to hear the story. And usually when you hear a story and then you get taught something, it sticks better, at least for me, right? You hear the story and you're like, why'd you do that? All right, so you know the story. All right, so the reason I played it that way is we've been under diligence. It's been weeks, right? And he knows I told him up front, we're putting the rubber gloves on, so that's what we do. He already knows, and stuff comes back. And nobody, you, me, them, nobody wants to get less than what they're asking for what they want, right? And I know this, and what happens is everybody turns emotional. at this point in the conversation. You, me, everybody. We have emotions, right? We have wants, needs, and when we're told that we're not going to get what we want, it doesn't feel good. So my preference was to send it in a text message and leave it be. If he responded back, no, whatever, I still don't care. I'm still going to give him the 24 hours to cool off. Because like we as humans, in my experience, don't make our best decisions sometimes when we're full of emotion. I let it cool off. Most people will say no to a retrade, and a lot of investors will just walk. Not me. I know that's part of human nature, right? So I'm going to let him chill. And that's what I did. All right. So I don't want to breeze over that. I want you to understand that. You might get told no, hell no, get the hell out of here 9 times out of 10. That's okay. Just know that reaction is emotional. It's based purely on emotional. All right. So let the numbers sink in, let the situation sink in. If you have a valid case for your retrade, your renegotiation, whatever you want to call it, you've got a good shot. Okay. Especially if there's motivation like there is here. They've listed it several times. It's expired. They obviously want to sell. Now it's how can they sell and how can we come to terms? All right. And I already had one previous renegotiation with this guy, right? I stretched the amortization out, which I talked about in a different podcast, I believe, but I stretched it out to make the payment lower because he's financing it. And not only that, it's a 20% down deal. And now that the 60,000 off makes the 20% less. Now, don't get me wrong, that stuff needs to be cured, meaning it needs to be fixed. So my one-on-one client that is buying it is still going to have to pay the 60 grand to fix it, right? But if he did not get that discount, he would have lost 60 grand, but instead retains the equity from the deal that we made. The payment, gets the same payment, gets a better part. There's no problems, right? And that's what you want. Like when you buy these things, you don't want to buy something that's trashed and run it trashed. Yes, buy things that are trashed, make them better, and then you have something good. I see so many people maybe get a good deal, but they leave it in the state it was in when they got it. And the reason they got a good deal is because it was probably in a poor state or there was a poor situation. Those things need to be cured. They need to be fixed. Okay? I hope that makes sense. All right? And just remember the rules on renegotiation. Don't argue, don't press the fact like if people are emotional. I had another one-on-one client for just mobile homes yesterday, and he flat out got in an argument with a seller because he told him the price, and seller didn't want to tell him something, and he's like, well, I could find it out, and they went in the tiff, and I'm like, you don't do that, right? And he was emotional, right? Once you understand that we're emotional creatures, you understand that we're all doing our best, right? And just think, we're all acting away at a time for a certain reason. Let cooler heads prevail, right? Let logic set in, and you'll get the deal that you want. Of course, you got to do the outreach, but this deal's taking a month so far, right? So good things take some time, but he is going to get a banger park by the time it's all said and done, right? I think it's 24 units for $315,000, seller financed, an 8.5% interest rate, unheard of. Half of it's rented out, so it's bringing in 6 G's a month already, right? People say those deals don't exist. I want to show you how they exist. They don't exist at face value. You've got to make the deal. And what I mean is, I just walked you through the process. Let alone, this thing was listed for $475 and didn't sell forever, for over a year, expired at several agents. Nobody could figure this thing out, right? We got it figured out. Thank you so much for jumping on the Property Profits podcast. My name is Travis Wells. I hope to see you on the next one. Please refer friends, family, other investors if you got something out of this, if you took anything away. And I'd love an honest review. Help the algorithm out. You know, just whatever you're listening to this on, take the split second to leave a review. DM me on Facebook if you need to get a hold of me, want to get a hold of me. Leave comments and messages. If tell me what you like, what you don't like. We can make this thing even better, right? Tell me if you have other experiences. Until next time, thank you so much. See you then.